It's UHSP men's basketball on the Utectic Sports Network. Ethan Hannaford and Daniel Rodier excited to bring you Senior Day here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're going to go ahead and throw things down to our public address announcer as the festivities begin.
There is the very abridged senior lineup for the UHSP Utectics. It's Braylon Rios and Landon Engalagi, the two seniors here in 2026 for the Utectics. Daniel Rodier alongside Ethan Hannaford. Bring you a little bit of information now. The core of it will come in about 10 minutes time. There's still 10 minutes on the clock. We still got another shoot around between now and the tip here, Ethan. But UHSP, this is a game they, I'm not going to say need to win, but would very much like to win if they'd like to avoid playing Columbia College again on Thursday.
Yeah, you beat them now so you don't have to beat them again in less than a week. And certainly their backs are against the wall. But you know what? Sometimes I think you tend to see on senior days specifically things happen that wouldn't traditionally happen. And I think there's something about playing for the guys knowing that it is their last opportunity to be in the UHSP uniform today, specifically Braylon Rios and Landon Engalagi, who were just honored a moment ago. What does the motivation look like for this team, knowing that you have a chance to end this regular season in a special fashion? So backs will be against the wall, but we'll see if we see anything unique due to it being Senior Day.
As mentioned, there's about 10 minutes between us and at least starting the festivities here at UHSP, apart from the Senior Day festivities you just witnessed. We'll take a break. We'll allow that timer to run down just a little bit more before we bring you starters and more here on Senior Day at UHSP.
It all began in 1937 on this very basketball court in Kansas City. A vision to start something different, something better. A college athletics association where competition wasn't just about the scoreboard, but about character, growth, and rising together. From that first tip-off, the NAIA has grown in size and in spirit, in the way we play, the way we lead, the way we make athletics greater than a game, and all strive to do more and be more. At the NAIA, we take the student and student athlete seriously and focus on the whole person, Because individual growth doesn't stop at the final buzzer. Our character-driven athletics empower student athletes to succeed in competition, in class, and in life.
I'm not just preparing for the next game. I'm preparing for what's next.
For NAIA member institutions, small doesn't mean limited. It means limitless. Our schools aren't simply the sum of their teams. They're whole communities that are founded on opportunity, strengthened by tradition, and powered by passion.
Here, we build athletic programs that build lives and legacies.
Through our 29 sports, 21 conferences, 250 member institutions, and 83,000 student athletes, the NAIA fosters a culture of competition and connection in an unstoppable intercollegiate movement where athletics push to new heights and integrity keeps us grounded.
We don't measure success in W's alone. Our greatest victory is the community we create for the student-athlete experience.
Across the NAIA, we play for the love of the game, finding strength in our teammates and gaining inspiration from our challengers.
We know excellence doesn't happen by chance. That's why we built our own playbook for success. From our common sense regulations to our innovative tools like Return on Athletics to our commitment to character development, we help schools not just compete, but thrive.
Our investment goes beyond athletics. We're investing in the future of our student athletes and our schools.
We are bigger than a game, than a record, than a championship. We are the next generation of athletes, leaders, and game changers. It's why we choose the NAIA.
This is college athletics the way it was meant to be. This is the right way to play.
Number 18, Columbia College makes a trip across I-70 and a shade down I-64 to the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy. It's the Columbia College Cougars and the UHSP Tactics. The Cougars coming into today 24-3 overall. They only have one blemish on their conference record, and that is a 15-point loss at Williams Baptist. UHSP had back-to-back wins over Crowley's Ridge and, ironically, Williams Baptist, but every other game just has not gone their way. Daniel Rodier alongside Ethan Hannaford here for the men's game for you. 5-21 in the season for UHSP. The conference season has gone a little bit better, but they would have liked a lot more against Harris Stowe on Thursday.
They most certainly would have, coming short in that game by a final score of 93-80. There were some bright spots from that matchup against Harris Stowe. Had 4 players end in double figures. O'Donnell, Ingalagi, both with 17. Brennan Walker with 11. And Akinci with 10. So they were able to get the scoring going in that game. Let's see if it's able to translate into today's contest against the Cougars. The defense will have to be a little bit more improved.
Now, unlike the women's side, there are only 8 teams on the men's side. You're not vying for a conference tournament berth. You're already there. So, an important distinction when we swap genders in the men's game versus, as we talked about, the women's game. Columbia College 12-1, Hannibal LaGrange is 11-2. Columbia College has the tiebreaker over Hannibal LaGrange. Regardless of this outcome in Hannibal LaGrange's game today, they've got the 1 seed. Williams Baptist is in the 3 seed. They have split it with Hannibal LaGrange as well. There is debate between the teams as to whether or not the national anthem is happening. From the current outlook, it does not look like it's happening here for the second game. This is a 3rd game of the day here at UHSP, as there was a men's volleyball game preceding festivities here for the basketball doubleheader. I believe that was not senior day because that is a spring sport, and they would have just started.
Should be an exciting one today, though, between these two. The last time that they played, I think the UHSP may have surprised some people by keeping it as close as they did. They still ended up losing by a final score of 72-60, and they were trailing by as many as 22 in that game. But they shot over 60% from the floor in the second half, Daniel, and were able to get it down to a 5-point deficit with just about 3.5 minutes left. As mentioned, ended up losing that game by 12 due to some free throws hit late by Columbia College. But I think that UHSP perhaps, built a mindset of we can play with these guys, we can shoot the ball. And like I said, crazy things tend to happen on senior days, so we'll just have to wait and see.
In a direct contrast between the first half and second half of the season, the last week and a half of January into the first week and change of February were complete differences from what they saw back early on in the season. They only had a 4-point loss to Harris Stowe. They only had a 9-point loss to Central Baptist. They won against Crowley's Ridge with a wild near buzzer beater for Savalia. It had like 4 seconds left, but it turned out to be the game-winning shot. They beat Williams Baptist and actually led in that game by as many as 20. And then they lost to Columbia College, as mentioned, by 12. But that's still a very productive, I'd say 2, maybe 3 weeks for them.
It certainly
couple losses, but it could have been worse.
It certainly is, and as mentioned, you try to build into that. The reward from winning a game today is that you don't have to play this team later in the week. So you most certainly would rather get it out of the way now. We'll have to wait and see how the Utectics look on the floor tonight.
The notable starter for UHSP is Braylon Rios. He's got his first start of the season. It's senior night for him and Landon Angalagi. It's Walker, Jazz Savalia, and Akinci as the starting 5. A great save off the tip by the aforementioned senior forward Braylon Rios. It's UHSP with the ball. A.J. Walker, Caleb Jones, Adam Saucell, Jameel Goins, and Johnny Anderson are the starting 5 for Columbia College. Paul Fitzwater, Ryan Eaton, and Mike Wood, your officials. And Galagi tries to get senior night going early, but he misses just wide. Walker plays a game of catch with Goins and then puts it all the way out to Saucell. Here to run the offense. Johnny Anderson down to the corner for Walker, and then back out top to Goins, who feigned a 3. 7 on the shot clock as Saucell figures out what he wants to do with the ball. Jones over top to Anderson. No good. Offensive board for Saucell will put it back 2-0 Columbia College.
First touch inside of the 3-point arc was the offensive board. He had it for less than a second, and just like that, the Cougars are on the board.
That's how quickly the shot clock can get away from you and then back in your favor when you're taking quick shots like that. You get activated early. Akinci over to Walker. Walker just waits to hand it off to Suvalia, who then tries to give it back to Walker, and it's poked free courtesy of Johnny Anderson. Johnny Anderson's going to try and drive. Savalia tried to poke it free, and we'll have our first free throws of the late afternoon.
Yeah, nice job there by Anderson, using the leverage to draw that foul. Wasn't able to finish, but he'll have the opportunity to add on to this early lead for the Cougars.
Johnny Anderson shooting 76% from the free throw line this season. Also a pretty considerably, at least decent, three-point shooter.
Certainly.
Watch out for him to really get activated from the exterior as well. There's no real, I want to say, listed 4 or 5 for Columbia College. Anybody, kind of like their women's team, can play as a guard. But it's the difference in height for them. Braylon Rios tries to kick it out to Engalagi. It'll stay with the Tactics. The women's team, you had 5 players all between 5'10 and 6'1", all in the starting 5. Here for Columbia College, it's the 5'8 junior guard A.J. Walker, and everybody else is between 6'2 and 6'5" or so. All as those combo guards and dangerous forwards down low if they need to be. Braylon Rios can't get it.
A matchup that works well for them as well, because UHSP doesn't really have a lot of size that they use to their advantage as well.
Exactly. Carmelo Bostwick not in the starting lineup, I believe, in favor of the senior Braylon Rios. Something to keep in mind. The 6'8 sophomore is currently on the bench, but he is dressed and ready to check in if he gets the call. Walker gets it back, tries to go up top. He does, right over top of Adam Saucelle.
Nice finish there, and getting the Tactics on the board 2 minutes in.
Brandon Walker at 6'5". He's maybe not the tallest of forwards, but he is third in the American Midwest Conference in blocks.
Ooh, almost a walk there.
Maybe got away with one. Adam Saucelle, now with 10 to shoot, puts it to the far side, and Caleb Jones off Tactic. It'll stay with the Cougars. They reset the shot clock back to what it was at 9. There's Walker with his third in the AMC block for a very good reason, and a foul in transition. The official, by the way, who just called that's Paul Fitzwater. I said this before we started. I said, he looks very familiar. So I do PA for Rockwood Summit High School down in Eureka, Missouri, or down around Eureka, Missouri. And he was there for Summit varsity boys basketball last night.
How about that?
Small world. I'm like, were you at Summit last night? When I went down to ask him how they're doing. And he goes, yeah, how do you know? I do PA.
It's a good thing that you communicated that.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just walked away at that point.
That would have been really funny. Caleb Jones gets the steal, tries to drive and lay it in. He can't. They're lucky to avoid the travel there because a teammate held the ball on top. That could have been one to get away. It doesn't. This was really funny. Mike Wood said to me, one of the other officials, he goes, how bad was he? I said, terrible. Sarcastically. Akinci, we get to hold on to the ball with 13 on the shot clock.
Didn't get really to talk about the missed dunk opportunity a moment ago. It could have easily just been a simple lay-in for the Cougars and unable to take advantage of the easy points. So style can add extra points in certain ways, but it certainly can take away in others as well. And at this point, it took away from points on the board for the Cougars.
Akinci's going to pull up from the left wing. Can't get it to go. Board goes to A.J. Walker. 3 new Tactics have checked in as Saucelle goes into a low catcher's crouch and just kind of does a wall sit against a non-existent wall. Dishes it back to the outside, now down to the corner for Caleb Jones. Jones has to stop on a dime, well below the block.
Good defense there from Akinci.
He's lucky to stay out of bounds. And Danny Brown's asking for a ball out of bounds. He's not going to get it. Kick it outside to Anderson. 3-pointer's good. Talked about his prolific three-point shooting. He already gets going here. 7-2 Cougars. Even a good defensive stand doesn't go their way. David Moore, Bryant Odenayo, and Carmelo Bostwick all checked in a couple possessions ago. Those are the new names you'll see on the floor. for the Eutectics in this possession.
A couple more set to enter in at the next whistle as well.
McKinchey tried to throw it off the leg of Johnny Anderson. He did, and it does stay Eutectic ball. And there go the subs for Columbia College. Justin Boyer and Max Rieger. Max Rieger averages a shade over 21 minutes a game. He's gotten a start this season. But as the shot clock expires, really nothing going second time around for the Eutectics on that offensive possession. Rieger down to the right and Goins. Back out to the top for A.J. Walker. They'll just reset with Saucelle and then down to the newly entered Max Rieger. 12 to shoot as they kind of throw the ball away. Odenayo goes to scramble and get it. He will. Over to Engelagi. Engelagi liable to drive. He tries to keep his footing. He does. Gets it back and gets blocked anyway. Shut down by Jameel Goins, and Goins runs away with it. Here come the Cougars in transition. There is Jameel Goins. Even with Odenayo all over him, he gets it to go.
That was pretty impressive. Back-to-back blocks, and then immediately on the other end, showing the offensive strength, fighting for the bucket. A couple of turnovers forced early in this one for UHSP, but haven't been able to turn it into points yet. Trailing by 7 now.
Getting it going on both sides is Goins. Odenayo now with 10 to shoot. Drives to the lane. Jump stop over to Engelagi, who pulls up in the corner and gets it to go.
Real nice look there. Didn't have an angle for the basket. Saw Engelagi open in the corner. Took advantage of it.
Engelagi had, to understate the obvious, a rough evening at Harris Stowe. Back on Thursday, his three-point percentage went from 40 and top 5 in the AMC to 38.5. Not that much of a difference, but this late in the season, that's a pretty big difference.
Especially with how much he shoots, and certainly off to a better start this evening than he was the other night against Harris Stowe. 1 of 2.
First media timeout reached here in the first half. Eutectics trail, but only by 4. Eutectics Sports Network back in just a minute.
It all began in 1937. A vision to start something different, something better. A college athletics association where competition wasn't just about the scoreboard, but about character, growth, and rising together. From that first tip-off, the NAIA has grown in size and in spirit, in the way we play, the way we lead, the way we make athletics greater than a game.
This is college athletics the way it was meant to be. This is the right way to play.
Said Engelagi had a maybe rough evening, not by as much as it may have sounded. He did still lead in 2 categories, 17 points and 8 rebounds for him against Harris Stowe. The crosstown rivalry again goes to the Hornets. The only 2 wins of the conference season for Harris Stowe actually came against UHSP. Despite the fact UHSP has beaten better opponents this season, Harris Stowe is going to have the tiebreaker if the Eutectics can't pull this game out, which means Harris Stowe gets to play either Hannibal LaGrange or Williams Baptist, and if UHSP loses here, they've got another date with Columbia College.
Yeah, certainly one of those head scratchers when you look at, and hopefully something that doesn't end up biting UHSP, but most certainly could, depending on the result of today's outcome.
Odenayo will pull up from 14, can't get it to go. Boswick's offensive board. David Moore's lucky he was just inside the front court there. As he gets it, looks to drive. He tries to hold his jump stop and does, but unfortunately throws it away. Try to get it to Carmelo Boswick.
Haven't really gotten it going from the field yet. They've been quiet to start, but their defense has helped aid them. Very intense, as you see right there from Engelagi at the point.
Nobody's getting any COVID 6 feet of space, let's put it that way, for Columbia College.
Those days are over.
Rieger out to Saucelle, who tries his first 3. He gets activated on the offensive side. Adam Saucelle, 33% shooter, give or take, from beyond the arc. And he, too, has some extra points. Odenayo's offensive board doesn't put it up right away. Out to Akinci instead, and they'll reset the offense all the way around to Engelagi. It takes him 3 passes to get from the far side block to the close wing. Akinci down to Odenayo, 5 to shoot. He just pulls up from the short corner, can't get it to go.
Good defense there by Columbia College. Even on Ingalagi's three-point attempt, there really just wasn't an open look. And as a result, Columbia can add on to the lead.
Justin Boyer's going to try and do it himself. He will, with Bostwick all over him. Gets down to the low block, creates some of his own space, and does get the bucket to go. Bostwick trying to respond. He does so, throws it off the glass. Low angle of attack, but it's good enough to go.
I was just about to say, it feels like UHSP is playing the same way offensively in which they are defensively, and that is a little bit reckless. It's worked on the defensive side, but seems like early on, just throwing up shots, not being patient. Well, it worked certainly that time in transition.
Justin Boyer stepped out of bounds. I was wondering why the whistle. Didn't look like he was close enough to the baseline, but evidently his left foot certainly was. And a turnover, and a rare one for Columbia College. I talked about this for their women's team. The women's team averages 13 turnovers and turnovers forced a game. Those are two very low numbers, each of them. They have just barely a negative turnover ratio. Engalagi, trying to get points off of turnovers, misses everything. Columbia College's men's team, 10.9 turnovers a game. They force 12.7. That is stellar for a squad coming through the American Midwest Conference, and even better for Max Rieger just going straight through the lane.
You know, what a split of the two defenders there. It's been all Cougars early in this one.
Savalia trying to create his own space through the lane. Out to Engalagi. Gets stuck on the baseline. Can't get it into Walker. And again comes Rieger in transition. He gets fouled by David Moore.
It wasn't a bad find by Ingalagi, but just wasn't able to locate the pass. And on the other end, nice job drawing the foul by the Cougars as they slowly get that to tack up here in the early going.
Christian Harwood is in, the 6'7" sophomore forward out of Aliso Viejo, California. He takes over Bostwick's 5 role. Headed over to Jace Askew, who also recently stepped in. Rieger through the lane, kicks it out to the top. Another 3-ball up. That one's well short. Engalagi trying to lead the transition. David Moore steps through 2 Cougars and gets it to go.
What a nice finish. Could have made a case perhaps for the and one. They don't give it to him, but continuing to remain in the mix here in the early going are the Eutectics.
Jace Askew, again getting touches on the outside. Listed as a guard, the true freshman getting some early activity. He's actually going to pull up from 3 in the close swing. He gets it to go. 39% three-point shooter, albeit limited numbers, so not statistically significant enough, as Engalagi gets his feet tangled up with Caleb Jones, who is called for the foul.
Yeah, but you'll take it when you can get it. This Columbia team is deep. And Askew is a perfect example.
He's got about 11 and a half minutes played per game in games he shows up in. And I say that because he showed up in every game. So he's consistently there, just not always consistently, well, taking the shots. That one does go up, but does not come down inside the nylon. Askew's board, and just quickly in transition, AJ Walker back out to the top. Anderson fires another 3, and just another successful trip down the floor that Danny Brown is not particularly thrilled with. 10th season for the head coach of the Eutectics, and he wants a break. We will take one as well here just outside 10 minutes to go in the first half. Eutectics trail by 13. The Cougars on top here in the Eutectics Sports Network.
College sports communicators are the lifeblood of any broadcast on television. Our communicators, our comm leads, our sports information directors, all those folks who touch this industry are really unsung heroes.
They love their university, they love their work. They go out of their way to present a great image for the university, for the players that they represent.
Learn more at collegesportscommunicators.com/celebratecsc.
Full timeout called by Danny Brown here in the middle stages of the first half. For a team that shoots 31% from the three-point line, or from just beyond the three-point line, it's a squad that looks very comfortable from that general area of the floor. 22-9, Cougars on top of the Eutectics here on the Eutectics Sports Network. Daniel Roedier alongside Ethan Hannaford to bring you through this one. 8 for 13 for Columbia College overall. including 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. They've made as many three-pointers as the Eutectics have made field goals.
And that kind of start for UHSP. Fortunately, it is early, and it takes a couple of baskets to get right back into the mix of things. Starts right here.
Harwood wants to drive. It's poked free, but will stay with the Eutectics. 15 on the shot clock, as very shortly after a timeout, there will be 2 separate substitutions, as a matter of fact. Jameel Goins comes in, will replace Marcellus Phillips, who got some limited minutes. And in comes Braylon Rios in favor of Harwood, who just turned the ball at least out of bounds. Akinci ready to shoot off the inbound, decides better of it. Walker over to Moore. Akinci again, who didn't seem ready for it this time. Engelagi's got 4 to shoot. He gives it to Walker, who can pull up from deep. Akinci straight away. He got to put it up. He will, and he'll hit nothing. Shot clock violation, and that's a turnover you just can't afford if you're the Eutectics. You need points off of possessions, and they just haven't gotten it.
Yeah, it's been a bad mix of you haven't been able to execute offensively, and on the other side, while you've been able to create some turnovers, Columbia is just shooting lights out from beyond the arc right now.
Even those turnovers need to turn into points off of turnovers if they're going to mean enough. Caleb Jones drives, spin move on Engelagi, blocked by Walker, his second of the game already. And Engelagi turns through the lane, somehow corrals the ball again. He too is blocked, but a foul called on Johnny Anderson. The Blytheville native runs afoul.
And that's exactly what you need to do in those moments, is be able to force those turnovers, those blocked shots, and you need to turn them into points on the other end. Unable to do so on the first freebie.
I think I've said this in nearly every game I've worked that has had Landon Engelagi playing. He shoots lights out from distance, really good from the field. His 67 to 70% free throw shooting is the worst number of those, and it's not a bad number. 70% is like the area you want to be in, but that just shows you how efficient he is from deep, that is a number that is negative in his stat sheet.
And he missed 2 more right there.
Engelagi stays just inside the line and gets the steal. He's just driving the offense himself, tries to give it to Walker and just turns it over. 5 on 2. The Cougars are looking to hurry. They'll kick it all the way over. Johnny Anderson from the right corner. Can't get it to go, and Rios is bored.
He could have stood there for 3 seconds and still taken the exact same shot. Fortunately for the Eutectics, it did not fall.
Engelagi tries to get it out to Savalia. He will. Walker at the top, handoff to Akinci. Native of Izmir, Turkey, runs the offense and kicks it out to Braylon Rios, who tries to bank it home. Not open this late on a Saturday.
Closed at 4 today.
That's why a couple went in during the women's game. Makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
A.J. Walker over to Askew. Askew another 3 and another one that goes through. They will give him a 2. Just ever so close to a 3-pointer. The official very dramatically telling the scores table, nope, his foot was on the line.
They're 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. That would have made him 6 of 9 had his foot not been on the line. Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness. Brennan Walker leads, or nearly leads the AMC in blocks. Didn't look like it there. Jameel Goins gets up for it and denies the dunk attempt. Akinci called for that foul as a few Cougars enter off the bench. Rieger, Saucelle, and Boyer will all re-enter, as a matter of fact. Put it to the corner for Rieger. Boyer again. Walker trying to run it from the right wing. He'll put it out to Boyer. Boyer's going to try a 3. It's well short. Another man that is not afraid to pull up from distance. He shoots 35% from deep. That one a little less successful than his percentages might indicate. Again, Akinci trying to drive through the lane himself. Out to Rios. Another 3 from the San Angelo native. His mom was wearing a Texas shirt earlier. I was wondering why. There's the reason he hits a 3 in the corner.
Nice look trying to stop the bleeding here for the Eutectics. Have some work to do.
Again, wide open was Boyer at the free throw line. Tries to get it over Walker. He does. Second chance does go through. Walker was fighting for the board, couldn't hold on for the jump ball, and Boyer's able to get some second chance points and his own rebound.
Well, we've talked about the limited height that these two teams have. Right now, Boyer is the tallest on the court, and it's not particularly close. So using that as height to his advantage there, it certainly didn't affect Brennan Walker right there from putting in those two.
I feel like there are a couple players who are 7 feet and play like they're 6'7", and there are players who are anywhere from 6'5" to 6'7". You look at them and say, how are you not 7'3"? I think Walker and Boyer very much fall into that category. Kick it all the way to the corner. Saucelle, pump fake once. Back over to Rieger. Straight away three. No good. Rios gets the board. And Savalia tries to run the offense too quickly. It was Rios' pass that got caught up. Saucelle had forever, but can't get it to go. And Savalia got away with a push.
It's one of those examples I talk about. Unnecessary recklessness that the Eutectics are playing with. That turnover right there. Fortunately, it didn't result in points for the Cougars, but we've seen plays like that on multiple occasions today. Slow down, settle down, run your offense. I know that's the style in which they play, but right now it's clearly not working.
Brennan Walker running the point in favor of what would have been David Moore or maybe Akinci, who you see with the ball now. There are three players on the right side of the floor for the Eutectics. It just seemed like they were all in a semicircle waiting for the ball to be passed to him. Akinci just going to try and do it himself. Floats it up, can't get it to go. Walker nearly wins the rebound, can't do it.
Akinci wanted the foul call, didn't get it though. For a moment you thought, was he trying to shoot or was he looking for someone to pass to and just ran out of time?
Rieger to the top for Saucelle, drives and then kicks to Rieger. It's a game for Rieger and Saucelle of who can drive and kick better than the other. I think both of them want the assist. Neither of them want the shot. Saucelle is going to say, well, I've got so much space, I might as well take it. He can't get it to go. Offensive board. Second chance points go through for Caleb Jones. And the St. Louis native, nice little trip back to his hometown. He's on the board, too.
Nice and silky there. And they are dominating right now on the boards. Currently 3 offensively, 10 on the defensive side early in this one.
And Galagi into Walker, who's fouled by the aforementioned St. Louis native. There are a lot of players from the St. Louis area for Columbia College, including those on the floor. But we're a shade under 4.5. We'll have to wait just a second to talk about them. Columbia College has extended their lead, but only barely. It's a 14-point deficit. Feels like a football game, despite the fact we're about 2 weeks removed from the Super Bowl. 28-14, Cougars on top.
College sports communicators are the lifeblood of any broadcast on television. Our communicators, our comm leads, our sports information directors, all those folks who touch this industry are really unsung heroes.
They love their university. They love their work. They go out of their way to present the great image for the university, for the players that they represent.
Learn more at collegesportscommunicators.com/celebratecsc.
6 of 20 for the Eutectics. 11 of 23 for Columbia College. And they make the trip across the core of Missouri, a little bit more of a lighter one when they have to go home this evening. The women's team won a little earlier. The men's team well on their way to doing so here. Number 18 in the country, according to the most recent polling for the NAIA. And they're a team for many of the last few seasons that either could have been or have been contenders in the NAIA tournament.
Biggest key number to this point in the game, in my personal opinion, 7 turnovers for UHSP, 5 for Columbia. Only 7 combined points off of those turnovers, so neither team really taking advantage of the opportunity from them. Obviously, hurting UHSP much more early in the contest than it is the Cougars, who lead by 14. And I tell you what, every single bit matters. UHSP now 0 of 3 from the free throw line.
So here's a couple numbers for you, with Walker going 1 for 2 there. These two teams have a 10 percentage gap, or just about a 10 percentage gap, in their free throw shooting percentage. However, their field goal shooting percentage, a 0.5 percentage gap. Their three-point shooting percentage, a 0.4 percentage gap. It is really just the free throws and sometimes the quantity of shots that go through, alongside the lack of turnovers for Columbia College. Couple shot fakes down low. Walker may have gotten a piece of that. He's able to just underhand it out to David Moore, who will run the floor himself. Wants to go straight through the lane. He's blocked by Krieger, but he'll go to the line.
Krieger holding his hands up, wondering where was the foul. I think everybody on the floor in the stands knew that one was going to end up sending Moore to the line.
I say that mostly because it's not like Columbia College shoots the lights out as compared to any other team in the AMC. They've got a 15-point scoring margin on average per game, which is amazing. But they only shoot 5 points more, or they only make 5 points more per game than UHSP does. And UHSP is nearly a negative 15-point differential. It's 80.9 per game for Columbia College, 75.3 for UHSP.
The defense certainly has been an aspect of the game that Danny Brown's squads have struggled with in recent seasons. That has continued into 2026.
Also, the last number in this real category, Columbia College averages nearly 9 more rebounds than their opponents in every game they play. That is so many more offensive opportunities to get second chance points. Turnaround lay-in is good for Goins. Again, even with Eutectic in his grill, he's able to put it off the backboard net.
Yeah, they play a physical style of basketball. It's patient, it's methodical. They look for the open opportunities, and so far they've been able to find them this afternoon.
Braylon Rios has to reset it to the top. Moore and then Odenayo with 10 to shoot. Odenayo will fire from deep, can't get it to go. And credit where it's due to Thomas Brock in his 7th season. He's 151 and 58 overall. That is a stellar coaching record in what is a difficult American Midwest Conference and overall a difficult AMC. But it's much more easy if you got players like that. Jamil Goins slams it home, and a timeout called by Danny Brown. His second called timeout already here in the first half. And you only get 4 for the entire game. You have to call 1 by the end of the first half or you lose it anyway. This is where the second half could become a little bit more dire for the Eutectics.
Well, it shows the understanding of the importance of this first half and not letting it get away in these final 3 minutes. You trail by 15 right now. If Columbia College were to go on, let's say, a 10-0 run and all of a sudden they have a 23, 24-point lead, then it seems almost insurmountable for the second half. But if you can keep yourself in the mix here in these final 3 minutes, even end up in the plus, keep it, around a 10-point deficit, you're very much so still in the game. Danny Brown has been at this for a long time. He understands the importance of those middle 6 minutes at the end of the first half, the start of the second half. Guys are starting to get tired. Keep them mentally and physically in the game and give yourself a shot in those final moments.
It's not the only game going on the men's side of the AMC, but it is very much the latest of the starters, mostly due to the men's volleyball game that happened earlier, but also we had senior night, or senior afternoon, I guess, which played an impactful part. Crowley's Ridge is currently trailing Mission by 1 with 9 minutes to go in the second half. Williams Baptist and Hannibal LaGrange, that's really the game of the day. 2 versus 3, 8-point gap. Williams Baptist leads to try and bring a tie to the top of the standings. Krieger goes diving after the ball, saves it, tries to dish it out, but Savalia takes it away. He'll look to slam it home. He'll decide better of it, but it will take the guaranteed points.
That could have turned disastrous there for UHSP. Almost one of those plays that just would have been a head-scratcher. Shouldn't ever happen. Fortunately, UHSP doesn't let him bite them.
I think that's one of the plays where Danny Brown's like, I'm not happy we scored that way, but I'm not going to complain that we have points. Krieger tries a 3, can't get it, and Braylon Rios gets the board. He'll sprint the floor. Moore, quick handoff back, catch and shoot for Savalia. Moore tries to rush for the board, can't do it. Goins comes away. Salcel at the right wing to the top for Anderson. A.J. Walker, another St. Louis native, puts it to Max Krieger. Odenayo got the block. They wanted the goaltend. Krieger still wants the goaltend despite the fact his teammate got some second chance points.
That they did. Lead back up to 15, under 2 to play. These possessions very important in the early going for UHSP.
There's a chance where this is cut down to a sub 10-point game if the Eutectics can make a couple shots. They call a foul on the way through, and they will give Odenayo some free throws. Not the one you want to send to the free throw line. He's 5th in the AMC in free throw percentage, 76 and change.
It's been quiet today. No points. Correction, 1 point now following the bucket for UHSP, averaging 11 on the season. So I want to be able to get him going here in the second half.
Still a chance for him to get activated here at the tail end of the first, but he misses the second of 2. 90 seconds remaining here in the first half of action in St. Louis. A.J. Walker all the way around the perimeter, inside to Goins. Goins wants to do it himself, creates space off of Walker, but he's called for the offensive foul.
Nice job by UHSP, who I think at moments has had pockets of strong defensive effort. Trail by 14 right now. Opportunity to cut it to 12, maybe 11. UHSP been quiet of shooting here in the first half. 30% from the field, 18% from beyond the arc.
It's where you don't force a shot if you don't have to. You've still got a couple possessions before the end of things. Great dish down for Savalia. That's the find you need. Brennan Walker just waiting for him on the far block. Gets it and puts it home. Pretty big difference shot and game clock right now. The Eutectics may even struggle to get the final shot here at the tail end of the first half. Anderson in the corner to Saucelle, and then Walker at the top. Walker puts the work all over David Moore. Krieger tries to go straight through the lane, can't do it. Anderson, correction, that's actually Marcellus Phillips who pulled up from deep. It hit the rim, so Krieger gets another chance at it, and he drains it from distance. What could have been a sub 10-point game is now up to 15.
Offensive board proves to be vital in that moment right there. Excellent defensive stand, and then the offensive rebound, and just like that, all the work for nothing.
Savalia now with sub 10 seconds on the game clock. To the corner for Engalagi, who tries for 3. No good, and a defensive rebound. There's a chance for a buzzer beater here. Put up from Johnny Anderson, but about 8 feet short of the rim. The Cougars will escape the first half with a 15-point deficit. What a stand for the Cougars at the tail end of things, but UHSP made it difficult for them down the stretch of that first half.
Yeah, you know, there's not much more you can be asking from UHSP at this point as far as when you look at trying to stay in the game, when you look at the way that they're shooting. It was a pitiful effort from them when you look at the shooting numbers in the first half. They're 8 of 25 from the field. They're 2 of 12 on three-point attempts, and they're 4 of 8 from the free throw line. You're going to have a hard time winning basketball games with those kinds of numbers against any team, not to mention the number 1 team in the conference. So they're going to have some work to do. Here's the good news. We refer back to that second half that they had in their first game against Columbia College, where they shot 60% prior to a very poor first half of play. So, we've proven that they can show 2 different styles in one game. We'll see if they're able to do so in today's contest.
There's a list of things that need to be changed. Among the shooting numbers, rebounds need to be adjusted as well. 21-12 in rebounding. I told you Columbia College is +9 on average in their games in rebounding margin. They've already reached that number in the first 20 minutes of action. We'll take a break here on the Eutectic Sports Network. It is the Cougars on top, 37-22 over the Eutectics. The Eutectic Sports Network back in a little bit with Ethan Hannaford on play-by-play to bring you through the second half of action.
It all began in 1937 on this very basketball court in Kansas City. A vision to start something different, something better. a college athletics association where competition wasn't just about the scoreboard, but about character, growth, and rising together. From that first tip-off, the NAIA has grown in size and in spirit, in the way we play, the way we lead, the way we make athletics greater than a game, and all strive to do more and be more. At the NAIA, we take the student and student athlete seriously and focus on the whole person, because individual growth doesn't stop at the final buzzer. Our character-driven athletics empower student athletes to succeed in competition, in class, and in life.
I'm not just preparing for the next game. I'm preparing for what's next.
For NAIA member institutions, small doesn't mean limited. It means limitless. Our schools aren't simply the sum of their teams. They're whole communities that are founded on opportunity, strengthened by tradition, and powered by passion.
Here, we build athletic programs that build lives and legacies.
Through our 29 sports, 21 conferences, 250 member institutions, and 83,000 student athletes, the NAIA fosters a culture of competition and connection in an unstoppable intercollegiate movement where athletics push to new heights and integrity keeps us grounded.
We don't measure success in W's alone. Our greatest victory is the community we create for the student-athlete experience.
Across the NAIA, we play for the love of the game, finding strength in our teammates and gaining inspiration from our challengers.
We know excellence doesn't happen by chance. That's why we built our own playbook for success. From our common sense regulations to our innovative tools like Return on Athletics to our commitment to character development, we help schools not just compete, but thrive.
Our investment goes beyond athletics. We're investing in the future of our student athletes and our schools.
We are bigger than a game, than a record, than a championship. We are the next generation of athletes, leaders, and game changers. It's why we choose the NAIA.
This is college athletics the way it was meant to be. This is the right way to play.
Second half action between the UHSP Eutectics and the Columbia College Cougars set to get underway here in just a moment. Ethan Hannaford, Daniel Rodier, you are watching on the Eutectic Sports Network Senior Day here in St. Louis, Missouri for the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy basketball team. And, well, it was a first half that, in a large part, the play was controlled by Columbia College, Daniel. And as we discussed at the conclusion of the first half of play, it's going to have to be much better in half number 2 for the Eutectics if they want a shot in coming out with a win.
Not only shooting, but just game control. Turnovers do need to ramp down a little bit for the Eutectics. You just can't afford 8 turnovers in the first half. That's about in line with their average, at least in the vicinity of it. They average 16.5 turnovers a game. But you also need to start winning games. This is a great way to do so. You win this, and I actually have the name for you. They will play Hannibal LaGrange instead of Columbia College. Hannibal LaGrange and Williams Baptist 2 and 3 now in that order. Hannibal beat Williams Baptist just a little bit ago.
Walker at the point, gives it off to Caleb Jones, right back to Walker. Somehow he ends up wide open. He could have sat there for 5 seconds and still hit that shot just as easily. Not the way you want to start off if you're UHSP.
It's happened a couple times for the Eutectics where they've left a player wide open and they've got a calendar year to set into their offense.
Ingalagi carries it to the corner, around the perimeter, and a turnover. Walker walking up, unable to finish, but getting the offensive board is Saucelle. He dishes it off, and fouled going up is Jameel Goins, so he will head to the free throw line. Well, you had 15 minutes to talk it over in the locker room, and it doesn't seem as though that has done much in the first 39 seconds of the second half for the Eutectics.
No, and Goins going back to what has been working, and I think what will, for them, continue to work. Danny Brown and Robert Kennedy, the head coach and assistant coach respectively, had a conversation out on the floor, sitting at the end of the bench, for the first 5 or so minutes at halftime. Then they went to the locker room. I wonder if that was to kind of get on the same page of what needs to be done.
Goins, 76% from the line. He hits both of them there. The lead to its largest of the afternoon. 20 points, 42-22 is our score. Jasmine Savalia dishes it to Rios to the corner. Ingalagi from deep, no good. Punched out, ends up with Akinci. Back to the corner from deep. The three is no good, but Ingalagi puts it back in.
There's second chance points. You win a rebound, you make a bucket. That's the turnaround the offensive side you need.
42-24, our score. Columbia looking to add on to their lead. Walker from deep. Got it. Back-to-back three-point baskets for A.J. Walker, the junior that attended SLU High just down the road here for his high school days. Svalia, Ingalagi holding on to it, gives it off to Akinci. Unable to hit, and it'll be Cougars ball.
Three-point shooting, I think, was one of the bigger difference makers there in that early part of the first half, and it's continued here. A couple misses you just can't afford.
Oh, what a find down low. Jameel Goins, 2 more. Once again, don't know how he ends up that wide open there.
He's the tallest guy on the floor right now for the Cougars as well. He's the only one really existing in the paint. Seems to be Walker's responsibility. Just didn't get him.
Walker gives it to Akinci, who tries to dish it outside to what looked like Ingalagi. It didn't work out, and now we're heading the other way. Walker thought about it from deep. Instead, he kicks it. Caleb Jones, he'll try his luck. Step back, no good. Akinci moving with some pace. Bounce pass down low. The reverse for Walker. 47-26 our score.
Passes have looked a lot better here, apart from Akinci's turnover, which he really just can't avoid. He's a smaller guy. trying to kick it out there. Passes have looked a lot better to start the second half of the Eutectics.
Saucel kicks it outside from deep. Good. Johnny Anderson. They just keep on raining here in STL. Akinci to Walker on the right wing. Now Ingalagi thought about it from deep for a moment. Instead gives it off to Savalia. He hits.
It's the response from the Eutectics they need on nearly every offensive possession. There were a couple where the Cougars would do one thing, the Eutectics would run the floor and do the exact same thing, but you then need to be proactive and follow up.
Saucel kicks it outside. Walker to Johnny Anderson. Yes! Johnny Ball working here in the second half, 53-29.
Johnny Anderson, a good three-point shooter in the first half as well. Finished the first half with 8, 2 of those being from distance, or 6 of those being from distance. He had 2 free throws as well.
From deep, Yida Kinchi. Chipping away here, Eutectics trailing by 21, 4 minutes into the second half. Jones to Walker at the top. Johnny Anderson thought about it from deep again, and this time gets called for the travel as he tripped up trying to get to the paint. It'll be Eutectics ball.
Those were Kinshi's first points of the day, by the way. It feels like he's been active everywhere, just hasn't gotten a bucket to go. Hadn't made a trip to the free throw line, and it's 0 for 4 and 0 for 3 from the field and beyond the arc, respectively, until that point.
Speaking of, he will carry it down the court now. Walker right back to him. Driving with the left, nothing there. Carries it back outside. Moves to the top. Savalia. Over to Akinci. Kicks it outside. From deep. No good there from Braylon Rios. The ball was last touched, it looked like, by Columbia College. That was Goins. No, intended for him, but last touched by UHSP. So they catch a break there.
Akinci certainly thought it was last touched by a Cougar.
Well, it looked like the referee was pointing at Goins. And this time it is last touched by the Cougars, Max Rieger. So the Eutectics will get the ball back here. Akinci manning the point to Walker at the right wing. Ingalagi at the top, moving right. Into the paint, post up, kicks it outside. From deep, Akinci, no good off the front rim. The board by Ingalagi, he put it back up and in, but there was a whistle blown, a foul called, and it is going to be against UHSP.
Yeah, Ingalagi just looked like he pushed down Max Rieger while trying to get the board, and it would have been a pretty good response on the rebound and basket, but he's just going to be called for the offensive foul. Cougar ball.
Media timeout here with 14:49 to play in the second half. 53-32. Columbia on top of UHSP. It's UHSP men's basketball on the Eutectic Sports Network.
It all began in 1937. A vision to start something different, something better. A college athletics association where competition wasn't just about the scoreboard, but about character, growth, and rising together. From that first tip-off, the NAIA has grown in size and in spirit, in the way we play, the way we lead, the way we make athletics greater than a game.
This is college athletics the way it was meant to be. This is the right way to play.
53-32 our score with 14 minutes and 49 seconds to play. Ethan Hanford, Daniel Roedier on the call for senior day here for both the women's and men's basketball teams at the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy. It has been all Columbia spoiling the party for the Eutectics today. The women's team winning 100-75. 18-0 conference run, and it's been almost as successful of a season for the men's team as well in 2025-26. Down low, going up, unable to finish too strong, but a foul on the putback And Justin Boyer is going to head to the line.
Chad Savalia called on the rebound and then put back for Boyer. Good catch and shoot for Boyer. Otherwise, that's a ball on the floor. And Savalia is second. Already 3 fouls for the Eutectics.
First one is short off the front rim for Justin Boyer, the 6'7" senior forward. Attended Father Tolton Catholic High School in Columbia. And he hits the second. We'll have a substitution as David Moore will enter in the place of the senior Rios, who was honored in the pregame, along with Landon Ingalagi.
Very anticlimactic senior day, by the way, to have 2 seniors
Certainly
here at
is.
UHSP. You got to feel that you're losing a lot in Ingalagi, but positive news for the Eutectics. A lot of players getting a little bit more acquainted with the collegiate level.
Walker to Savalia in the corner. Kicks it outside. Moore driving. Finds Ingalagi. Long 3. Got it with 3 on the shot clock. Landon Ingalagi. Heat check time.
Ingalagi knew he had to pull up. It wasn't really an option to dish it out to somebody else. They wouldn't have had time to realize the shot clock and get into a shooting motion. Might as well just do it himself, even if it's a few feet from beyond the arc.
Saucelle to the far side. Down low. Good find. But unable to finish. Not sure how David Moore ended up on the wrong side of the basket there, but the easy 2 points for Max Rieger makes it a 21-point lead.
Rieger went to the inverted post with the ball. That's not an easy thing to do.
Ingalagi again. This time it rattles out.
He's heat checked by the rim. That's unfair. Hits both interior sides of the rim and goes out.
On the far side, Marcellus Phillips down low to Boyer. Posting up on Walker. One-handed kick outside, but Ingalagi takes it away and finishes on the other end. Landon Ingalagi heating up here in the second half.
Interesting defense by Caleb Jones, who just ran right in front of him. Didn't know if Ingalagi knew he was going to do that.
He's up to 7 points now. Boyer in the paint. Gets bodied, kicks it outside, and now Jones over to Saucelle, unable to hit on the 3-point attempt, but Boyer is there for the offensive board. He's fouled on the way up. The offensive rebound dominance today for Columbia continues.
Sorry, 26-16 now in the rebound totals.
Boyer's second trip to the line in the second half. First one is up. No good. If things were to continue on the track that they are right now, looks like these two teams will meet once again this upcoming Thursday in the American Midwest Conference Tournament. Still 12.5 to play, though. But a 20-point lead currently for the Cougars after Boyer hits the second of 2 from the line. David Moore handling the point, gives it to Ingalagi, trying to find a way through the lane. He was fouled on his way there. So the ball will stay with UHSP and be inbounded on the baseline. We'll also have a substitution as Johnny Anderson will re-enter. The leading scorer in the contest, 14 points. Ingalagi gets it off the inbound. He's looking to drive, and ball was swatted out of bounds. It will stay with the Eutectics, 14 on the shot clock. Savalia inbounds. Finds Akinci.
Nice screen by Walker.
He has it now. Looks to drive. Unable to finish, but he's fouled on the way up. He'll go to the line. Walker 1 of 2 from the charity stripe this afternoon. Make it 2 of 3 following the first. Second one, no good. The free throw woes continue for the Eutectics.
63% shooting team. Those are some of the worst numbers on the Columbia College side. As a team, they shoot 73.
Rieger looking to drive, lost his balance, was able to dish it off before. No good on the finger roll from Jones, and a whistle blown, foul called.
They're going to get Engalagi. And you can't blame Engalagi, who's pleading his case. Rieger kind of got tied up with him. Engalagi, if he moves, Rieger hits the deck. And I'll be honest, it probably was a foul, but Rieger definitely sold it.
So the ball is back with the Cougars now. Rieger inbounding on the baseline. He finds Phillips from the top. And a foul is called. And that's going to be against Savalia. Another Eutectic pleading the case.
Hefty amount of fouls here for the Eutectics since our first media timeout. We exited the first media timeout with 2. It's been maybe 3 minutes. They've had 4. And this will be a lot of trips to the line for a very good free throw shooting team.
Anderson to inbound. He finds Eskew. Gives it to Rieger from the right wing to the corner. Eskew thought about it. Now dribble drive. Kicks it outside. Rieger from the top. Dribbling with the left. Spin move in the paint. And he's fouled. And Moore can't believe it. Thought he had all ball.
Everybody couldn't believe it. UHSP benched some of the UHSP fan base. And I'm certain a couple of Columbia College Cougar fans sitting below us in the stands are a little shocked they get the benefit of that call. They're not complaining.
Max Rieger, correction. That's his first free throw attempt of the afternoon. Unable to hit. 7 points, 4 assists up to this point.
It's a 75% free throw shooter. Maybe ball don't lie on that one.
Second one is up. Good. And the lead back to 20 with 11.5 to play. Rieger guarding Moore at the point. Follows a pick to the left side, and now he's in trouble. Double covered, finds Walker, kicks it outside. Driving and fouled on the way up is Yida Kinchi. So he will head to the free throw line now.
Good recovery by Akinci. I think Walker tried to rush the pass down to the corner. Maybe a miscommunication between the two of them. Akinci maybe looking like he was going to stay in the corner and Walker thinking so, but he drove straight to the block. Maybe a little bit of a slower pass on an on-rushing teammate.
I think that's exactly what happened.
I have my moments.
First one is up and good. Kinchi, the Turkey native, with the second freebie. Yes. That might be the first trip to the line where the Eutectics have hit both today.
I can tell you it is.
I have my moments.
No, I lied. David Moore went 2 for 2.
Never mind.
My bad.
To the corner. Phillips, yes. Marcellus Phillips. His first field goal of the afternoon. Engalagi trying his luck. No good. And the board goes to UHSP. Akinci with it. Driving across the lane. Savalia from the right wing. From deep. Yes, rattles in. Yida Kinchi gets it back to 18.
Even with Caleb Jones all over Savalia, Savalia pulled up from that right wing and was more than happy to oblige the room he was given.
Into the paint. Now outside. Eskew rattles out. The board, though, from Columbia. Marcellus Phillips. The offensive board leads to 2 more points. No one was near. On the other end, 3-point basket from Jazz Savalia. And a timeout is called by Columbia College with 10 minutes and 3 seconds remaining. 63-46 is our score. Back in a moment on the UTechtic Sports Network.
College sports communicators are the lifeblood of any broadcast on television. Our communicators, our comm leads, our sports information directors, all those folks who touch this industry are really unsung heroes.
They love their university. They love their work. They go out of their way to present the great image for the university, for the players that they represent.
Learn more at collegesportscommunicators.com/celebratecsc.
Ethan Hannaford, Daniel Rodier for UTechtics basketball on the UTechtics Sports Network. 63-46 on senior day. UHSP trailing the 1 seed in the AMC, Columbia College. It may not be 60% like they shot in the second half the first time these two teams played, but there's no doubt that UHSP has taken the offensive ability, the offensive game, up a notch here in half number 2. Daniel?
8 for 16 in the second half for UHSP. They finished the first 8 for 25. They've taken nearly 10 less shots, made the exact same amount of baskets from the field, including heavily increasing their three-point numbers. They were 2 for 12. They're now 7 for 24. Same amount of three-pointers taken, now 10 minutes into the second half. They've made 3 extra. Those two numbers alone have made this somewhat reasonable. The one that really hasn't, it's still a 10-point or 10-rebound gap between the two.
They were trailing by 15 at the half, but they had such a bad start to the second half that they put themselves in an even deeper hole, and they were trying to work back out of that. Shooting's been better, but they have a long way to go. Down low, and an offensive foul is called. That one was on Jameel Goins.
Jameel Goins has done the same thing a couple times, and credit to our referee crew, they have called it a couple times. Goins has basically just tried to take that left arm and extend it and shove it to show really the defender, hey, I can create this space. And unfortunately, he's done it while facing the official right in front of the lead official who is down on the floor. So an unfortunate break, as we saw for Columbia College, and that makes it the 3rd foul on Goins specifically, and that'll actually take us to our media timeout. There's about 20-something seconds between timeout and media timeout, but we're sent there anyway.
We'll be back in just a moment with more UHSP basketball on the UTechtic Sports Network.
It all began in 1937. A vision to start something different, something better. A college athletics association where competition wasn't just about the scoreboard, but about character, growth, and rising together. From that first tip-off, the NAIA has grown in size and in spirit, in the way we play, the way we lead, the way we make athletics greater than a game.
This is college athletics the way it was meant to be. This is the right way to play.
UHSP men's basketball on the UTechtic Sports Network. 63-46 our score. Columbia on top of UHSP, and Cougars led at the helm by Thomas Brock in his 17th season. Excuse me, 7th season.
I was about to
Forgive
say,
me.
He does have a good resume, and arguably it's better that this is his resume now in his 7th season. In all 6 of his previous seasons, he has reached the AMC tournament, which is now a default with 8 men's teams in the AMC, but he's also finished in the top 4 in all of those seasons.
Savalia from the corner, from deep. No good. Board goes to the Cougars.
Last year was the first in 4 years they had not made it to the conference championship game. The 3 years before that, runner-up champions of the AMC.
Foul called on Ingalagi on the elbow.
That's his 3rd. And Ingalagi is trying to plead his case, saying, how am I called for a foul there when he's doing the exact same thing to me down on the block?
It's been a frustrating afternoon for Landon Ingalagi. Despite his 10 points, he's 4 of 13 from the field and only 2 of 9 from beyond the arc. Fortunately, though, for him, the free throw no good for the Cougars and a chance to continue chipping away, but a missed opportunity there as Brennan Walker unable to hold on to the pass from Ingalagi. Rolls out of bounds, and the Cougars get the ball back.
Turnovers really have not been consequential for one of a few times this season at UHSP. That's the 11th turnover for the Eutectics. There have been 21 combined turnovers and only 15 points combined off of those turnovers.
Walker, we thought about it. Steady dishes it up top. Eskew, no good, but the board by Jones, unable to get it to fall. And it finally ends up with UHSP, but Walker loses his handling on it, going the other way. Anderson back up top to Walker from the left wing. Cross-court pass. Eskew thought about it. Bounce pass down low, and the turnover. Akinci to Moore, to Ingalagi, unable to finish the alley-oop layup attempt.
Trying to rush themselves too far. Now they got an on-man rush against him.
Eskew from deep, no good, but the offensive rebound and the putback jam from Goins. A hectic sequence there, back and forth a couple of times. Ends up being 2 points for the Cougars. Savalio with it now. Tries finding Ingalagi, but a turnover. Jones, numbers for the Cougars. Anderson goes up, and Anderson finishes.
It's an impressive thing for the Cougars, even on a three-on-one rush, the odd man rush, that is, just making sure they find the open man. Take the guaranteed bucket.
Akinci with the teardrop, no good. Walker at the point. Over to Anderson. Now Jones. Anderson.
Neither of them wanted the ball.
In the far corner, driving with the left, kicks it outside. Back to the corner. Good ball movement here from Columbia. Back to the corner. Anderson from deep. Short on the Treso attempt, but another offensive rebound for the Cougars.
Whoa!
And one for Jameel Goins.
That's a highlight reel play on both ends. Goins getting the and one, but what a no-look dish down to the block. It looked like Caleb Jones, who had ended up coming away with the board, who then gave it down low. That's so impressive. In a chaotic scenario, another one in this just chaotic game, to get it down to an open guy who can then finish through contact and make the basket and now go to the line.
The shot fake and the reverse lay-in drew the bump, and now a chance for the old-fashioned three-point play and a chance to make this a 24-point lead. He does so successfully. Jameel Goins continues to impress this afternoon in St. Louis. Under 7 to play. Carmelo Bostwick newly entered into the game. Odonayo with it. Hasn't played much today. He has the ball. Bounce pass, good look to Bostwick, but he's unable to finish. Kind of got caught between the layup and the dunk. Ends up with nothing as a result.
Indecisiveness.
Goins, try your luck, kid. Way short. Rolls out of bounds.
You can hear the reaction from his bench saying, probably not the shot you want to go to. He's not a bad three-point shooter. He just doesn't shoot the ball all that often. 36% in his attempts, but they're limited, to understate the obvious.
Akinci manning the point. Not a lot of time left, a lot of work for UHSP to do. Landon Ingalagi put some style points on that one. The reverse lay-in.
This is where you start playing some more stand-up defense. Step out a little bit if you have to.
Near wing. Rieger with it. Down low. Good find. And the jam for Marcellus Phillips. Ingalagi to the corner. Checks to make sure he's beyond the three-point arc. It doesn't matter for Braylon Relos. Unable to find the rim. Rieger the other way. Goes up. Drops it in. 74-48. Columbia College leading UHSP.
I think just the extra half second Rios took to make sure he was behind the line meant he didn't have an open shot that he wanted. Had to overpower it because he thought he had a lot more pressure than he actually did.
Odonayo to Bostwick. Back to Odonayo at the left wing. Dribbling with the right. Kicks it back to Ingalagi. From deep, he got it to sink. And a timeout called.
Another instance of catch-and-shoot basketball for Landon Engalagi.
74-51 our score with 5:17 to play. A lot of work to do, not a lot of time. We'll return in just a moment on the UTechnic Sports Network.
College sports communicators are the lifeblood of any broadcast on television. Our communicators, our comm leads, our sports information directors, all those folks who touch this industry are really unsung heroes.
They love their university. They love their work. They go out of their way to present the great image for the university, for the players that they represent.
Learn more at collegesportscommunicators.com/celebratecsc.
5 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in the senior day matchup between Columbia College and the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis. A 23-point lead currently for the Cougars over the Utechnics. Just a moment ago, Landon Engalagi, the three-point jumper. 15 points on the day, 3 assists and 4 rebounds to go along with it. Despite shooting 3 of 10 from beyond the arc, he is the leading scorer for UHSP.
Gotta say, I don't hate the timeout for Danny Brown either. At this point, you're kind of understanding you're going to lose this game. This is where you start to set up what you could do for next week. You already have a near guaranteed date with Columbia College. That's on Thursday. Figure out what you can do from right now.
Travel called on Adam Saucelle.
He got his gather step before jumping and then lost control of the ball. So he doesn't get the jump stop that you'd normally be freely gifted by an official, and thus is justly called for the travel.
UHSP bench was all over it.
As they always are.
Moore, good find down low. Odenai almost had it ripped away, and as a result had to dish it off to Boswick. Gives it to the top. Rios driving. Spins, puts one up. Blocked that time by Phillips. Going the other way. Jones up top. Anderson driving, marching, not able to finish. He'll go to the line.
Another instance of Columbia College being happy to just drive when they can. It's the 10th foul for the Utechnics. These will be the first guaranteed free throws, or guaranteed 2 non-shooting free throws, even if it was non-shooting for the Cougars.
Anderson is 2 of 2 from the free throw line, make it 3 of 3, and now 17 points tonight. $18 now. 4 of 4 from the line. On the day, they're 9 of 13 from the free throw line. Moore going the other way, too strong. But he was fouled, so he will go to the line as well. UHSP 7 of 12 today from the free throw line, 58%.
Good news is that's not too far off of their season average. Bad news is that's not too far off of their season average.
Truer statements have never been shared. First one was no good for Moore. Hits the second. The lead is at 24 for Columbia College.
Right, this game happened 11 days ago, in Columbia, Missouri, and it was a 12-point final deficit.
And a dominant second half for UHSP. Hasn't quite been the same story today. Anderson kicks it outside. Saucelle, not a lot working here. They throw up a 3 as the shot clock goes off, and it just happens to work out. Caleb Jones, not much you can do about that defensively if you're UHSP. They did everything right, but the Cougars still fired. Moore going up, blocked on the way up by Rieger. We move the other way.
Rieger's getting up there, 6-foot guard.
Down low, the reverse, can't finish it, but getting the offensive board, putting it back in is Marcellus Phillips, who's had a complimentary second half for the Cougars, taking advantage of the playing time.
Added to the list of second chance points the Eutectics have not responded to. 22-5 in second chance point numbers that the Cougars heavily lead in.
Odenayo, dribble drive, down low, bounce passes too hot for Bostwick, but last touched by Columbia College, so it will stay with the purple and gold. Couple of substitutions as Ingalagi enters back into the game. More exits. Boyer re-enters as well. Odenayo, dribble drive, puts it up, uses the bank, and gets 2 points out of it. Odenayo has been very quiet today, just 3 points, averaging 11 on the year. Rieger driving, dishes it to the corner, skew, yes.
Oh my goodness.
The lead is up to 30 for the Cougars. Akinci kicks it outside. Odenayo resetting. Driving with the left. Whistle blown, foul called that time on Jones. 3 more substitutions for Columbia College. 1 for UHSP as Christian Harwood will enter in the place of Bostwick. Jaden Carasquillo, Bear Bach, 2 of the names entering. 3-point shot is up from Ingalagi, no good.
It's a pass to Harwood, actually.
Harwood gets the board. And Ingalagi trying again, this time driving, fouled on the way up. Timor Dandon also entering into the game for Columbia College. So 3 players getting their first time on the court with just under 2.5 remaining. Ingalagi will head to the free throw line. 0 for 2 on the day. Make it 0 for 3.
How about Carasquillo? Dandon especially getting those minutes in today. 5th game for Dandon, 9th for Carasquillo. They've had very limited minutes this season because they play on just such a good team. Did he just?
He missed the bank. He missed the bank on the free throw attempt.
I don't hate the decision to change it. I've seen crazier things.
And then he forces the turnover.
That's how you make up for it.
Moving the other way, coast to coast day. Too strong with the left, but the offensive board by the senior, Braylon Rios, not able to get it to fall, but he will go to the free throw line. Rios with 3 points on the day.
Am I reading my own notes correctly? I think that's his first free throw attempted this season. He made it.
You are correct.
Wow. Takes to the last game of the season to attempt a free throw, and you go 1 for 2.
Jump ball called there as Odenayo wasn't able to hold on to it cleanly. Gave the Cougars a moment, but it will stay with the Eutectics. Ingalagi will inbound. Finds Akinci. Ingalagi on the left wing, driving into the lane. Ran into about 4 Cougars. Still found a way to get the shot up. He'll go back to the line.
This for Ingalagi is a spot where you've got to make a free throw. You're going into conference tournament season. You've got another date with a team that you are, to put it plainly, you're struggling against. And he makes one. This is where you need to get into a rhythm of some kind at some point, whether it's from deep, as he has towards the tail end of this game, or at the stripe, where he makes 2 of 2.
Couple of substitutions for the Eutectics. Donovan Elmore and Dylan Merkel will enter into the game in the place of the seniors, Braylon Rios and Landon Ingalagi, saying so long here to their time playing on the home court at the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy.
I see Elmore back in. Saw Elmore a bit at Harris Stowe. Limited minutes, but minutes nonetheless.
Good navigation through the lane by Eskew, but unable to hold on to it as he tries to go up, and we'll move the other way.
Good stand-up defense for Elmore that time around. Kept Eskew down on the low side.
McKinchey, the pass too hot for Elmore. In and out of the hands. We move the other way with under 90 seconds to play.
Elmore, the junior out of Fostoria, Ohio. He's one of the names you can imagine taking over the role of like a Harwood or something.
Bearbach kicks it outside, tries finding Carasquillo, but the pass was inaccurate. It goes out of bounds, and UHSP will get it back with 60 seconds to play and counting. McKinchey. Odonayo from deep. Good. Ryan Odonayo, 6 points now on the evening. All of them coming in the second half. Final possession of the game likely for Columbia College. Askew from deep, no good. And the board by Odonayo. A 1 second difference between shot and game clock. Harwood driving, kicks it outside. Elmore fakes the shot, drives. Certainly got away with a walk, but it doesn't matter. The shot no good. And the shot clock is dead. And that will conclude the contest. Jace Eskew will dribble it out. And that will conclude the regular season for both the Columbia Cougars and the UHSP Eutectics. Final score, 84-60. Columbia finishes on top of the Eutectics. Once again, the season sweep for both the men's and women's teams with the victory. Columbia moving to 25-3, 13-1 in the AMC. And on the other side, the Eutectics dropped to 5-22, 2-12 in the American Midwest Conference. These two teams will see each other once again in just a handful of days. So if you're Danny Brown, you have a few days to make some adjustments. A lot of work to do if they want to upset the number one team in the conference tournament.
That game's scheduled for 2:15 p.m. on February 26th. That is this coming Thursday. UHSP will get the date with Hannibal LaGrange as the 2 seed. That's the other St. Louis-based American Midwest Conference roster. But how about that game for Thomas Brock and company? This is a guy who has been leading this Columbia College roster since he took over in that 1920 season. Ironically, this season he took over, he lost one of the only 2 games that Columbia College has ever lost to UHSP, and has not really lost since, or really had difficulties in winning since. He played for his father, Skip, who is now in the, actually, Missouri Coaches Hall of Fame, or Missouri Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame at Mount Vernon, and then carried that into a playing career in college, then a coaching career at D2 and East Central, then at Northwest Missouri State, and he's carried that into a very successful career, and he's got a very promising chance at making his 7th consecutive top 4.
Daniel, what went wrong today for UHSP? It felt like the vibes of this game going in the early minutes, it did not feel like it did in the women's contest where UHSP had an early lead. Today, it felt like from start to finish, it was all Columbia.
I think in a word, rebounding. And a few more words past that, you got heavily out-rebounded by a team that can just string together second chance points. A perfect example of this is the offensive rebounds for Columbia College were in the vicinity of UHSP's total rebounds. 14 offensive rebounds for the Columbia College Cougars, 21 total rebounds for the Eutectics, 39-21 overall. Second chance points because of that, 22-5. If that doesn't tell the story of this game, I'm not really sure what will.
18 points on the day for Johnny Anderson. He led all scorers. Jameel Goins with 17, Max Rieger with 10. Phillips had 9, Askew 8, and Walker had 6, Boyer 6. 5 for Jones and Saucell. That was the scoring for Columbia College. On the other side, Landon Ingalagi tips his cap to UHSP. He led the scorers on the purple and gold side with 17. Brennan Walker, the only other Utectic with double-digit points, 10 today. Yeet Akinci with 8, as well as Jazz Suvalia. Bryant Odenio, a very quiet day with 6. David Moore, 5. Rios, the other senior, with 4. And Carmelo Bostwick added 2 points as well. As mentioned, with the loss, UHSP finishes the year 5-22, 2-12 in the conference play overall in the regular season. As mentioned, 5-22, and these two teams will meet again in the American Midwest Conference Tournament on Thursday, February 22nd, with tip-off occurring at 2:15 on the campus of Mission University in Springfield, Missouri. Final words before we wrap. Daniel.
All in all, UHSP does have a lot to look forward to going into the conference tournament, but a Columbia College roster as their first opponent, it may very well be an early exit. It has to be a good early start. This is a team that has had struggles coming back from games. They've also had games where they've led by 20. That that Williams Baptist game, where they led by as many as 20. They only won by, I want to say, 7 in that matchup. You need to be able to hold on to leads and, importantly, get them early. That's going to be the way the Utectics win come Thursday, the 26th. If that doesn't happen, I'm not sure that game will be any more contested than this one did.
That concludes our coverage of today's doubleheader, Senior Day doubleheader between the Columbia College Cougars and the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy Utectics. 84-60, the final score in the men's contest. We appreciate you joining us from Daniel Rodier as well as Ethan Hannaford. We say so long on the Utectic Sports Network.